Welcome, everybody. I'm Lark with Lightroot Collective, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Sara Lynn out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Sara and just getting to know you a little bit more and introducing you to our community. So I'd love to know, Sara, if you could just tell me a little bit about who you are and the journey that's called you to do the beautiful work that you do in our community.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Lark, for having me. I was very excited to come on and yeah, just share more with the community, connect with you guys. I love that you are kind of doing these spotlights to give more of like that intimate feel in the community. So yeah, I'm really honored. Um, yeah, how do I keep my journey short? From where I got into the work, I feel like that's always the thing I struggle with because I feel like I kind of go on long tangents. It's been quite a journey I've been on, but yeah, I will start at that I do family constellation work. So I'm a family constellation facilitator currently. And yeah, my journey's been kind of long to get here. I started doing, like, I was in the applied behavioral analysis world for a while as a behavior
Mm,
analyst. So I was very in like the science end of things, very in like the mind and the mental and behavior, which was really beautiful and was definitely like a huge chunk of my journey and had lots of value. And then I kind of reached a point of my journey where I was in a lot of burnout
mm,
and I took the decision to, it sounds very cliche, but it was very authentic to me. So I always laugh about it that I quit my job and then I just got a one-way ticket to Bali to do my yoga teacher
mm,
training. So that was kind of like the opening of my spiritual journey. Prior to that, I was
mm,
doing some landmark forum and doing some self-development. And that was kind of like me dipping my toes in of,
mhm.
ooh, okay, there's something here. Like I'm feeling better. This is feeling resonant for me. And then in my yoga teacher training, it kind of just like blasted me open and dismantled everything that I knew myself to be. So that was very exciting, but it almost felt like a second rock bottom in a way of just like,
Mm,
whoa, like what is this? What am I experiencing right now? Felt very resonant, but also very confusing and lost in the
mm,
beginning with it. And this was several years ago. I think this is about like 6 years ago now, maybe even a little
mhm.
longer. Yeah, and then my journey kept unraveling. Like COVID hit and I kept traveling. I was nomadic for like 5 years before coming back to Milwaukee, which I'm really grateful for. I've been grounded back in Milwaukee for about like over a year and a half now. And I
Mhm.
was born and raised here. So I was
Okay.
here, but I haven't lived here in like 14 years. So it was kind of like coming back and really being like, whoa, okay, I'm a completely new human. I'm still Sarah, but what is this going to look like? But feels really
Mhm.
good to get like roots and grounding back here. But yeah, I was abroad for 5 years. I was living
Oh.
in Bali for a while, and then I went to Australia for a year and a half, went back to Bali for another year and a half, came back home for like a tiny snip after being in Europe, and then I went to Costa Rica for almost 2 years. So I was
Wow.
I was in a lot of these like so to speak like hotspot areas and I feel like I was
Mhm.
kind of like in a goodie bag of spiritual self-development business all of these things which was beautiful and I definitely learned a lot on that journey and after my yoga teacher training like integrating I started doing flow state coaching.
Mm,
I was training with someone, I was coaching with someone, and then I started doing the work myself, working with entrepreneurs. And it took me like, I was gaining a lot from it. I was feeling much better. And then I hit this point right before I went to Costa Rica. And like I had a business with flow state coaching and all of these things. And then everything was just kind of going flat. My journey was kind of just like at this point where I was kind of reaching yeah, like another one of those like rock bottom moments where I'm like, whoa, like, okay, this is kind of one of these periods that's going to be
mhm.
very dismantling and I don't really know where it's going to take me. And it kind of felt like it just stripped me of everything I knew myself to be once again,
Mm.
as the journey
Wow.
does. Um, and it was really scary. And it was also like, wow, I'm open to see where this takes me. And kind of how I phrase it when I tell people is just, it was taking me much, much deeper
Mm,
into healing. Like I was doing things and going deep, but there was like layers that just really wanted to come. And when I was in Costa Rica, I got into family constellation work myself. It kept coming into my field. So
Can you
many,
explain what family constellation work is? And also, I don't know if
yeah,
flow state
yeah.
coaching is either of those two terms I've never actually heard. So yeah, if you can tell us a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, amazing. So for family constellations, what I specifically do is I'm working with leaders and I can kind of explain like why that's kind of been resonant for me. And I'm helping them really break these generational and ancestral cycles and patterns that have been playing out in their lives for usually it's like majority of their life, right?
Mm,
And it's keeping them stuck. And typically, it's causing lots of pain and frustration. And, that's where I was at on my journey. It was like I was doing all this deep work and was in the spiritual self-development and healing space, but I couldn't seem to get some of these really deep-rooted cycles that were just really keeping me stuck in my life. And I'm like, why am I not experiencing and really moving forward in these ways I really want to be experiencing? So what I tell
mm,
people is, we go into it and generational ancestral levels. And then it really helps you get to this place where you can move forward into this new desired reality. You can like
mm,
actually move forward. And for me specifically, like as a family constellation facilitator, what I'm really doing is, there's lots of modalities out there and they're all beautiful. And I think there's not a right or wrong or better or worse. It's just resonant to the person and their soul's journey.
mhm,
And family constellations is looking specifically in a systemic lens. So that's what's really unique about it. So, as a family constellation facilitator, I'm looking at what is going on in the family system that's keeping you stuck. And they have these things called like on obviously a lot of our conscious awareness is unconscious, right?
mhm.
So we're looking at all these things on an unconscious level, and specifically with the systemic work, what you start to notice there's lots of bonds, there's lots of entanglements, there's burdens, there's hidden loyalties. Like these are all family constellation
Mm,
kind of verbiage
mm,
that is keeping you stuck in ways that are not serving you anymore or your lineage. So
mm.
you're
Sure.
going in and exploring this on the unconscious levels. And that's the work you actually do in family constellations. Like you're doing the work to kind of release that, heal these things, and then
Mhm,
freeing yourself to really move forward into what I tell people is their destiny.
mm.
Because a lot of the times, we get handed our fate, and that's beautiful. And that's a process of going about even accepting that, like what we
Right.
were handed. And what I believe is that we all have the opportunity, not everyone is, but we all have the opportunity available to us that we can really actually move forward into our destiny. And this is like really like it's the best gift I think we can give to our lineage, is to be able to really, like we're passing this torch forward,
Mhm,
but to be able to really free these cycles and patterns that, have probably just been playing out through the lineage in different ways. And it always comes out in different unconscious ways, right?
mhm,
Like, for example, this might show up in the form of addiction.
mhm,
This might show up in the form of, I mean, it can be really deep things like suicide, all of these things that are playing out because these cycles and these bonds and burdens and things, which the reason I really like family constellations and how they view it is that they say it's really you're doing this out of love. Even, you might look at it and be like, why is this happening? Like this is happening in my family system. But you're really like, as children, and obviously even as we get into being adults, we're still, there's still that inner child. That child will do anything to stay loyal to the system,
mm,
even if it's ways that are harming them individually or not serving them anymore, or people in their system. And people can be bonded and burdened and entangled with different members, people that they don't even know.
mhm,
These are people that might have passed, or maybe they just don't even have like awareness, like they've never met this family member. Um, and what I think is really profound is that there's this thing called the knowing field in family constellations. And it's really like divine intelligence is how I kind of refer to it. So, you can open up this field and when you're doing the work, and it's not like it's me being like, oh, this is what happened. Like, no, I'm very unimportant and I'm just holding a space in a field. And
mhm,
we have, you can do, there are these people called representatives and they're kind of playing out whatever um, unconscious scene, like whatever is going on internally, we really bring that into a 3D view so it can
mhm,
be worked with and seen in the constellation session. And the divine intelligence it's really kind of hard. Like I can explain it here, but it's something that really needs to be experienced because people are like, how does that work? I'm like, it just does. Where this, like, like I just had a workshop last weekend, and I won't share names, of course, but um, one of the clients had a representative playing her, and there was like, the representative picked up from this divine intelligence from the knowing field of like, oh my gosh, there's so much grasping in my throat. It hurts really bad. Like this is what the representative is picking up. Didn't know the client, knew none of the story. And she was strangled like at a point. So there was like, like the field is very intelligent of picking up this information, and it can't be explained because usually half the time, the client, no one knows each other, and even if they do, and it's picking up on these things that, you just can't really explain, and then you're able to really work with that and see what's going on. So it's a very vast field of work.
Yeah, it
And how
sounds.
it is. It's very deeply spiritual, like in the sense of like, it's not your typical black and white therapy, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just,
Mhm,
you really need to be kind of open to um, this divine force coming in, and then kind of like seeing how the field is picking up, and it will always present what wants to be worked with and what's able to be
mhm.
worked with in that moment, which I really appreciate. Um,
Wow. It
yeah.
sounds like really profound work. I just love how where you've come from in your background and then your journey have all kind of the work you do now, it sounds almost like a merging of everything that you've experienced, like your journey. It's so beautiful just hearing you
Thank you so
explain
much.
it. Yeah, it sounds really profound too. There's a lot of work out there that is, it's beautiful and it's out there and we get, meaning and we learn things from it, but sometimes you're missing the practicality and it sounds like it kind of brings it back home and it's like now we can move from this and, actually operate in the here and now. So I love the practicality side of it too.
Thanks. Yeah, and it feels really grounded. Like that was something that resonated with me. Like, yes, it's like, all this there's a lot of energy and things moving in the space typically in these sessions. But it's very grounded. Like you have to
Hmm.
be in your body to be able to receive and pick up on the information. It's all body-based work. And of course, when you're, sorry, there's traffic out here. Um, yeah, and when you're doing the healing work, like this is all happening through the body. It's very here and now, even if
Hmm.
you're working with really deep things. So that was something that really resonated with me.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it is kind of a merging of everything. I didn't really go into the flow state thing, but it really helps me
Good.
kind of trust the field and allow it to open. And flow state
Hmm.
really helps you get in that very like present, immersive state where you're able to tune in and be very connected.
Hmm.
So being able to have that background and allowing myself to settle into that and allowing that field and that space to open up so that the energy can move and flow has been very supportive for me as a facilitator personally, and
Hmm.
allowing people to kind of like create that safety and come to that place within themselves so that we can really do the work that wants to happen in the space.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm curious now that you do this work and you're facilitating for others, what do you get as in terms of how is it impacting you personally, just witnessing what you're witnessing in front of you?
That's such a good question. I feel like what's been present for me now is, there's so much in the collective that's happening. Like, if you want to say, the fire horse here, like all this forward movement that's been happening, there has been a lot of change. And um, to be able to really witness, like, it kind of gave, like, from a conceptual view of like community and group-based healing, like another level, because you're really working so much, like, everyone's of equal importance in this space and
Mm,
everyone's supporting this healing for the client, and then even people that are supporting and helping, they're receiving healing. And I think it's just really beautiful and profound to watch the support, the genuineness, and like that devotion to um your own process, someone else's process, and really letting the greater good, like, hey, I'm here presently fully with like what's
mm,
happening in this right now, and putting everything else aside and being able to really like work together. And of course, like I do one-on-one sessions and that's a little different, but I've been doing some
mhm,
group-based ones recently and like
mhm,
workshops. And yeah, it's just so beautiful. It's so
mm,
beautiful to watch the support and the genuineness of people really wanting to help each other heal. And I think that's like really where we're in right now. And there's not this hierarchy. Like I really don't, I was just sharing with someone yesterday, like, this like model of like there's like a person above and below, like that's not it. It's like
Mm,
I'm opening a space, like we're all of this equal importance helping this work move. And yes, I have a certain skill set, of course, to like facilitate this and kind of knowing some things, but everyone is really bringing powerful, impactful pieces to the work at hand. And that's just been so fulfilling to experience and witness and all carry it. Like it takes the pressure off of me as a facilitator. I'm like, oh, there's the divine force coming in, the knowing
mm.
field. There's all these people, representatives receiving this information, the client, and like the session is guiding itself and
Hmm.
watching everyone participate in that. And everyone feels it when they're in a session. And there's this like closure at the end where it's like, oh, this is a good place to leave the work because there's peace in the field. The healing
Mm.
movements have been made. And it's like, oh, this is a good place to leave it. And just that like closure and how everyone feels. It's a really fulfilling, beautiful moment.
There's nothing I need to add to that. It was just so beautifully described, and I really felt that, and I had a great
Yeah,
visual of how that is, how it works, and it's so beautiful. What a beautiful tapestry you just described. That is so beautiful.
thank you so
One thing I'd like
much.
to just end with, since I know you
Mhm.
were mentioning just doing your own kind of personal work this morning, is there any ritual or practice or even a movement?
Mhm.
Something that you turn to when you're needing grounding or inspiration that you would like to share with our community here today.
Yeah, of course. I feel like one that, we can all do, like, of course, you can go into this deep ancestral generational work, and it's given me a more profound sense of, our ancestors and these unseen forces at play that are always there with us, supporting us at all times. Like, I feel such a deep connection now to that within this work and like their presence and how they're supporting, and just like we can call on it upon any time. So, it makes me feel the most grounded and rooted. Like I literally visualize like a tree almost. Like my favorite tree is a weeping willow. And
Mm,
I just even just like imagine myself being able to lean against that and like imagine like calling in my ancestors and support and um allowing myself to actually be receptive to receiving their presence, like feeling that
mhm,
drop in.
mhm,
And yeah, just being able to ask for support. And I think it's beautiful doing that,
mm,
obviously, and with people in our community as we're in the space here. But just especially with like our ancestors and these unseen forces at play, it really grounds me. It gives me like a very rooted
mm,
sense to be able to feel how much support. Like I say, I literally feel armies worth of support sometimes of like when I let that fully drop in and like I can, if I ask, if I pray, if I'm asking for support in something specific, like I feel their presence and I feel, throughout the day, I start witnessing how they're supporting that and that known sense of presence. Like we can call on, it doesn't matter if you're outside, traveling, like in your home, like wherever you are, it's always there. And me visualizing a tree, I do this in the beginning of sessions to ground people. I do it with
mhm.
myself, of
Yeah.
course, too. Like I literally even just feel myself like growing roots into the ground and growing really deep and long because if we have short roots they're not really
Mm,
anchoring us, so to
mhm.
really visualize, sorry, my bunny is coming over here, Dottie. So cute. Yeah, visualizing those roots growing really deep and then feeling that like I'm literally the tree trunk and those like branches of whatever
Mm,
tree or flowers, and like breathing that in and allowing myself to really feel that within me brings me a lot of rooting and stability.
mm.
So
I
yeah.
love that. I've never heard anyone share that before, and I really resonate with that. That's really great. It's so simple. I mean, you don't need any special props or anything.
No,
You
you
can
don't
do it
need any of
anywhere.
it.
You can do it anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
really
of course,
wonderful.
yeah, and of course there's, somatic work and dancing and all these things that I love, but that one, like I said, is just it's very simple, yet
Hmm.
it's like so impactful when we can call and anchor that in. And you can do it
Hmm.
anywhere, anytime. You can even be in an airport or wherever, a busy area, and like close your eyes and tune into that and let that presence drop in.
Hmm.
And it's very calming. You can
Absolutely.
feel the unseen support if you allow yourself to be
Hmm.
receptive to it. And it's like, whoa, okay, I'm not alone here, literally ever. So,
Yes, I love that. I think that more and
yeah.
more people need that in today's just the era that we're living in. And that's why I love that
Yeah.
as a grounding practice. It's not just about you doing your work, you're actually connecting to not just this life, but other lives and those who've come before you. So I think that's very impactful practice. So thank you for sharing that. Love that.
Of course.
Well,
Hope it
thank you,
supports.
Sarah. Yeah, this has been a delight. And I will, of course, as always, be sharing all of your socials, website, any upcoming workshops, that type of thing in the post. So I really appreciate your taking the time today and sharing of yourself with all of us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lark. Appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.